the day-to-day workings of OLLI, they have to be managed. And so who better to manage them than Ms. Fawn Supernall? Would you come forward, please? She's director of OLLI. The day-to-day workings of OLLI, they have to be managed. And so who?
Hi, everyone. It is so nice to see a room full of people. So since I started this during pandemic, I didn't get to see rooms full of people like this. So it's my first time meeting some of you. Some of you I work with almost daily. And this has been so far such an amazing experience. And looking around and seeing people talking, welcoming each other back, seeing a room full and what the future will bring is exciting. So I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate me being given a chance to help this community. And I think we're going to do great things. And thank you for inviting me today to celebrate with you. Thank you. Oh, sorry, one more thing. We have membership applications. If you aren't a member, we would love you to join. And we are accepting donations for future cultural events. And we have a donation box in the back. And we appreciate everything. Thank you.
And please forgive me. I was remiss in not introducing myself. So permit me to do that now. My name is Frankie Stewart, and I am a proud member of OLLI. I've been a member of OLLI so many years, I don't even know how long. And I also am an alum of Cal State Dominguez Hills. So where are the Toros in the room? Go Toro! All right. Yes, yes. Let's see now. We are going to move along with our program. And I do believe it is time for Lift Every Voice and Sing. And it is in your program. This song is known as the Black Negro National Anthem. In those days, we were Negroes. And so when it was written, I've been several things. I was colored when I was born. Then I became a Negro. And then I became Black. So just take me for what I am, because as Popeye says, I am what I am. So we are going to sing Lift Every Voice. Yes, ma'am.
Everybody silence their phones. Put your phones on silent.
Okay, thank you. I know Jeffrey was going around trying to make sure that we all did that. Yes, thank you. So take it away. We're singing a cappella. Oh, lift every voice and sing till earth. Oh, please stand. Burn a ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the hope that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new begun. Let us march on till victory is won. You may be seated. As we move along in our program, I want to give you a wee bit of history about Juneteenth. Now, President Abraham Lincoln did the proclamation, he issued it on January 1st, 1863. It was not until a wee bit later, more than a wee bit, that Union General Gordon Granger and his troops traveled to Galveston, Texas to announce the proclamation, and it's called General Order Number 3. So General Order Number 3 states, the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. And the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and to work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts and that they will not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. While the order was critical to expanding freedom to enslaved people, the racist language used in the last sentences foreshadowed that the fight for equal rights would continue. And we are very much aware that in many ways, it still continues. The fight goes on. So that was the General Order Number 3. And I believe we are now going to hear a song, Freedom. And I think this song is by John Baptist.
I wanna live what I'm gonna get. Freedom. It's your right. It's all right. I wanna live what I'm gonna get.
All right. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Let it ring. Freedom. Thank you again for being here. And now I'd like to invite to this stage a wonderful guy. Now, just to tell you a little bit about him, he's written a couple of books. He's published. I mean, you know, he's not just some hang-arounder. He accomplishes things. He's married to a lovely, lovely lady. I just met them yesterday. But you know how when you meet somebody, you get a feeling for it. And I got the most wonderful feeling of love that is shared between them and how they pass it on to others. Mr. William T. Clark. He is going to present us with a poem that he wrote. Now, he is a poet. And when I met him yesterday, I said, now, are you really a poet? You don't look like no poet to me, but he is just absolutely fabulous. So, Mr. Clark, would you come forward, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. You know, in commemoration of Juneteenth, I wrote a poem that I entitled Yesterday's Tomorrow. We remember Juneteenth like it was yesterday. struggles for life are why we're here today. People in bondage were like you and me. They wanted more than anything to just be free. Their daily provisions were always scarce, yet they learned to just make do without complaining, with tears in their eyes that became the morning dew. Almost nothing to eat was their daily bread, with a millstone tied around their head. When it seemed that nobody really cared, emancipation was declared and their lives were spared. Prayers were answered in 1865, and the lives of millions began to come alive. A quill and ink in the palm of one hand meant freedom for a people with a single command. Miracle after miracle began that day. It transformed a nation with a will and a way. They're free at last. Yes, they're free at last. But we remember and cherish the pains of their past. Celebrations erupted, and rightfully so. No longer in servitude, they were free to go. Strawberry pop is what everyone drank, with a barbecue meal, because freedom was no prank. Monuments from sacrifices of our past continue as a legacy that will far surpass. The evolution of equals is seen through our eyes. A maze of sequels became our prize. The sky is your limit is a phrase we've all heard. You'll receive what you work for. It's what you deserve. All eyes should look up to the skies. There's ample reason to pursue the prize by joining the ranks of all who rise. We have the opportunity to cultivate success with a goal to empower, but not to impress. Learn from those whose stories we tell, their mothers and fathers and children as well. Never forget how far we've come on the hands and feet of millions plus one. Their memory will live through the accomplishments we make, and tenacious diligence is what it'll take. Liberty instigated a smiling face. We're eager entrants into this human race. It'll always hurt for those that we've lost as we tally the numbers and the staggering cost. We still feel the pebbles between their toes, a crude reminder, ouch, so everyone knows. Spread the glory with great respect. Treasure it always without regret. Share the wealth by empowering our youth. Share this history because you're telling the truth. It's time for genius that's inside you. Like sunlight, it'll come bursting through. Endeavoring to look forward, not looking back. Tighten the reins. Don't let them go slack. Our tears of joy, don't stop crying. Open tomorrow's door and keep on trying. Those beautiful lambs sacrificed their moments so we could have and enjoy ours. So while you're living, live your life in this crucial moment. Thank you.
Wow, that is just so wonderful. I mean, it touched me in so many different ways. And I forgot to tell you up front Not only is he a member of OLLI, but he's a Toro too. All right. Now we have a little storytelling. One of the things that our ancestors always did was to tell stories. And these stories were passed down and passed down. And somehow I think in the telling, the flavor that you gained from those stories was just such that it stayed in your heart and in your mind, and the taste was in your mouth of what your ancestors had gone through and how they survived. So this first story that I'm going to tell is about ham bone. Now, there are going to be some interjections of some things on the screen, and at a certain point, I'll ask you to join in with us. So let's get started. Ham bone, also known as patent juba, was created by enslaved Africans in North America. Africans found ways to use their bodies to produce rhythms by way of hand clapping, body and thigh slapping, and using tambourines and bones when drums were not available or forbidden for fear of secret codes and messages. But of course, we do know that those secret codes and messages really got through anyway. Diane Furlot is a professional storyteller. She retells the story ham bone and affirms that storytelling, other than family and community, is one of 4 important traditions that were passed on to us from our ancestors. The 3 others include music, dance, and religion. Now, storytelling is a means of preserving our legacy. It allows us to pass the baton to our children and to future generations. The story of ham bone is significant because a ham bone is symbolic of the food scraps that our enslaved Africans were given, and the creative ways that ham bone was used to flavor their food and thus survive off of little.
What can we do with this? You know what they did? Took that ham bone and dropped it in their beans to give their beans flavor. Took the ham bone out and gave it to their neighbor. Put it in their beans to give their beans flavor. Took the ham bone out and gave it to their neighbor. Put it in their pot to give their beans flavor. That old ham bone went from shack to shack to shack to shack. And that's where that song comes from. Ham bone, where you been? Round the world and back again.
Ham bone not only represents the ability to use a food scrap to give flavor to foods, but it is also a way to create musical sound and rhythm using your body. Now, listen to this song that is about to play, and you're going to join in. There's a process called call and response, and you will see how that is done. Certain things will be said in the song, and then we will repeat them. So,
ham bone, where you been?
ham bone, where you been?
Round the world and back again.
Round the world and back again.
Well, ham bone, where's your wife?
Ham bone, where's your wife?
In the kitchen, cooking rice.
In the kitchen, cooking rice.
Well, ham bone, where's your daughter?
Ham bone, where's your dog?
Down at the lake, swimming in the water.
Down at the lake, swimming in the water.
Ham bone, where's your son?
Ham bone, where's your son?
Down at the lake, having fun.
Down at the lake, having fun.
Ham bone, where you been?
Ham bone, where you been? Ham bone, all right. And you know, it's so true that we do take a small bit of something and put it in the food, and it does just give it that extra flavor. So ham bone, ham bone. So now I know there are some vegans in the room, and you turn up your noses at ham bone, but just remember where you came from. Okay. Today, many of us have seen the high energy performances of stepping, but are unaware of the rich history and African roots of the dance form. Stepping, a dance form created by historically Black Greek organizations, combines chanting, singing, and dancing to tell a story, and the history and platforms of fraternities or sororities.
When I step, it's a shout out to my ancestors, the people that came before me. It's an African-American dance form, and from this group of people that have existed in America, and me coming from that group, it's like every time I step into the floor, I don't know, it's like I'm waking them up and telling them that I'm living through you and through your experiences and through your stories, and I'm not letting all of that be forgotten.
It is evident from this last clip how some African traditions, in spite of the many attempts to suppress them, were passed down from generation to generation. And so that is my storytelling bit about ham bone. Now I'd like to bring to the stage Miss Jimmy Thompson. Now guess what? She's also a member of OLLI, and she's also a Cal State Dominguez Hills alum. Now, what she's going to share with us, she's going to share some readings from a book called The Ties That Bind. And this book was written by Dr. Joyce Ladner, and she will add some of her own musings at the end of the presentation. Miss Jimmy Thompson.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And as we know, once a Toro, always a Toro. I am so happy to be here this morning. And I want to share a little bit about Dr. Joyce Ladner with you first before we go into the writing. She was born October 12, 1943. She received her bachelor's degree from Tagolu College in 1964. And her doctorate degree came from Washington University in 1968. So for some of us, she's in our age group. So we can kind of relate to some of her experiences. And this lady is not a rookie. During college, Ladner and her sister Dory organized civil rights protests alongside Medgar Evers and other students from the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And again, those in our age group, you know what I'm talking about. She and her sister were arrested and jailed for their activism. She told PBS on her activism in Mississippi. So this is the lady I'm talking about. So I want you to know she's real, she's authentic. The book is The Ties That Bind by Arthur Joyce Ladner, brilliantly points out the value of sharing our history through storytelling. As she eloquently states in the foreword of her book, written in the late 1990s, there was never a time when life was simple and it was easy to chart the right course. For African-American families in particular, life has always been full of unique challenges. Yet guided by their traditional values, generations of African-Americans have nurtured children into being strong, productive adults. And so can you. These elements, as you will see, truly incorporate the values and purposes of our theme. Acknowledging our ancestors' emancipation, freedom is always worth celebrating. I would like to read to you chapter 5 from Joyce Latner's book, The Tie That Binds, written in 1998, really published in 1998. The Challenge Today is what it's called. Today, most children are still struggling to find themselves. How could that be, despite our love and our efforts? The answer is that their environments are more diverse and diffused than ours were. There is no village or kitchen culture to fortify them with coherent, persistent, positive messages that seamlessly affirm their strong identities as good people, valuable individuals, and responsible members of their race. And she's writing here about her son. My son, Thomas, is protected to some extent by the family stories he hears. But family stories are oftentimes lost on children because they receive so many inconsistent text messages from the rest of the culture. I cannot protect Thomas in the way that I was protected because my messages to him are constantly competing with more interesting and compelling messages he receives from society and the media. From the sometimes violent, misogynist lyrics of rap music to the violence of the Black culture itself. The large number of Black men who are embroiled in the criminal justice system are chronically unemployed and who themselves suffer from broken identities unwittingly hurt a lot of children who see themselves when they look into the faces of these young Black men who are lost. The same thing happens when girls are struggling to establish a sense of themselves. They see other Black girls who have been forced or have allowed themselves to be portrayed as ignorant and worthless sex objects. Today, and here she's referring to the 1990s, we also have new ways of relating to our old stories. Please note, this is not in reference to our current times. Women no longer accept the notion that they must remain at home and raise their children, even if they have a choice. With the change in women's options, it is less likely that there will be mothers at home during the day to talk to their children, as might have been in the past. Childcare has been turned over to institutions and paid babysitters. Husbands and wives who should be active in parent-teachers associations do not have the time to go to meetings anymore. From volunteer activities tied to the cooking, the evening meal, our behavior has changed. As harried parents spend less and less time working within their homes and interacting with their communities. Failure was not an option for me or for many of my peers, nor should it be an option for our children. This was not supposed to happen to any of our children. They were all supposed to do better than we did, but identity no longer functions across our culture the way it used to. For some children, identity is broken down completely, and even among stable families, all but the most involved parents have lost some of the control and therefore the influence their parents had. For better or worse, our children will find their identity ties as members of our families, whether these families are large or small, and whether they are isolated from the Black community or not. Our circumstances may change, but our children's needs remain essentially the same as ours. They need to feel secure and wanted. They need the healthy sense of self-respect and trust that follows from this knowledge. They need to feel every day that they belong to someone who truly cares about them. And here I'm speaking not of belonging to Mother Africa in the abstract, but of belonging to real, live, adult human beings who are constantly present in their lives. Traditional values have the power to heal broken and fragile identities. An important purpose of our journey then is to discover how each of us can find the will and the means to give more children a positive sense of themselves in this diffuse, diverse, and frequently difficult world. And that's the end of her writings there. In conclusion, I would like to close by bringing your attention to the following points I have gained from the storytelling experience. First of all, we celebrate the ancestors for keeping hope alive through their storytelling and enlightenment of the truth, we shall be overcomers. We must never forget that the oppression that was placed upon us was based upon lies. Even through suppression of the truth, even though suppression of the truth was substitute for oppression, we have received the keys to knowledge through the sharing and passing on of our ancestors' stories from one generation to the next. Therefore, we must always pursue and confer upon our future generations knowledge of the truth, for the truth shall make us free. In conclusion, we are and come from conquerors, and by spreading the truth from one generation to the next, we shall overcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Ms. Thompson. I mean, now I just met this lady yesterday. And you know, there again, as I say, when you meet certain people, you just get a feel for them. And she's A-okay in my book. Another round of applause. Now, I don't know if you are aware, but this is a hybrid gathering because there are people out there virtually that will be experiencing and that they are experiencing the same thing that we are. So it's wonderful to have them. Now, I am told that I need to kind of make some changes. And so one of our leaders in OLLI, Miss Delina, now Joe means, yay, I got it right. So she's going to work. Yeah, she's going to do some little impromptu stuff. Now, we don't know what it is, but everybody get ready. Tighten your seatbelt.
First of all, well, I want to give a round of applause for Frankie so far because I actually hate to come up here because, you know, she's a hard act to follow. But I welcome all of you here. And what I'd like to do is get some of your comments. We have time. We didn't think we'd have time to have any interaction. But if there's anybody here that would like to come up to the mic or in our Zoom audience, if you would like to make a comment, now is the time. So is there anybody here that would like to say something? Yes, that's a good thing, because you know, once we get a hold of these mics, we can't let it go. Okay, I'm going to say 1 minute. 1 minute per person. Okay, anybody that'd like to come up to the front, please do.
Delina, while people are coming up to the front, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'd just like to say thank you for making this a joint Zoom and in-person session. I really appreciate that you've included us in this celebration. It's really good to be here, even if it's just online. So thank you all very much for including those of us who are at home. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Aren't shy. I've seen you in action. So now.
Or do you want to say it from your seats? You can raise your hand. That's even better. We won't get you on camera, but we'll hear you, or I'll repeat. Anybody? Oh, Jimmy.
As I look around this room, I just love it. We are diverse. And all of this presentation was never to be thought of as excluding anybody. We all face the same struggles in this day and time. And again, the presentations go back to the past, to our ancestors, and even to the 1990s. So I want to thank everybody here. I love it. As I look around the room, I just love it. Thank you so much for being here.
I would like to make a plug for OLLI. We are, even though this is our 10th year presenting our Juneteenth, OLLI has been in existence for 15 years here at CSUDH. We are desperate for volunteers. I know in this room, we have a lot of people that have skills and we have seen it in action, and we can use a lot more of you. So if anybody knows anybody that's 50 years and older, and I imagine that a lot of you know the people in that age range. And if you're younger than 50, I'm sure you know somebody that's 50 and over, please let them know about OLLI, because we have so many wonderful courses. I happen to be on the curriculum committee and happen to teach a couple of classes. This fall, I'm going to be teaching conversational French and beginning Spanish. So anybody that would like to take a look at our catalog, we're passing around, or we're going to be passing around information about what we're offering this summer. And if there's something that our director would like to add on, please feel free. I'm putting her on the spot.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Denise Barton Thompson. I'm the social media specialist here at Ascended Education. We are always thrilled to put on events like these, especially with our OLLI membership. I am an OLLI member, and I get a kick out of this every single time we do this. I think it's crucial, and I'm probably going to be channeling my mother's thought process here as a retired educator. It's so important for our history, our stories, these background bits and pieces of information that become the fabric of our lives, the fabric of our family histories, to be passed on. And we're seeing this time and time again, that there's segments of generations that don't know enough about or haven't heard enough of the stories. So we encourage you to become the impetus to continue sharing your stories, whether it be online or with your family, with your grandkids, with neighbors. And I see my mom coming. Come on. Because we don't want to lose these stories. We don't want to lose the history. It is absolutely imperative and crucial. And what are you going to do?
Okay. Before you ask, ditto to my daughter. And you know, I'm the history buff around here. In fact, since Delina opened it up about classes that we're going to be doing, I'm going to be doing a different kind of class for me in the fall. And they call it a vision board. I don't know how many of you have heard of that. It's usually younger people talking about what they see in the future. Well, I'm going to rename it the legacy board. Okay, so now that I have a captured audience, I would like you to think about those things that are in your life that will inspire others. Okay, your children, your grandchildren, maybe some of you have great-grandchildren. What are the words of encouragement? What are the things that you have experienced that made you the person you are today? Our youth, they need to hear this. Okay, we're not out here by ourselves. We need to share our stories, just like my daughter was saying, to those behind us. So, and this is a time that we really need encouragement in this age that we live in now. But we need to let them know that there is hope in the next generation, and it's our story. Okay, so what I need you to do, those of you gonna be in my class, I need you to cut up some magazines, find some pictures of you growing up, anything, any magazine words or anything that you know speaks of your encouragement. Keep it, put it in a bag, and when you find out about the class in the fall, sign up, bring your glue stick, your imagination and your creativity, and your history, history. And we're gonna pass that legacy on to others, okay? Thank you.
My last time coming up here, but don't forget, we have to vote and we have to encourage people to vote if we want to keep our democracy.
Hello, I'm Norma Bates, and I am a 14-year OLLI member. Yes, and I know most of the people I know here, and they know me. They know why they know me. But I have encouraged a lot of people to join. It is fun to be here. It's a great organization. No grades. for one thing. No tests, no grades, just a learning experience. And I do hope to come back and teach craft classes again in the fall. So hopefully somebody's interested in learning a new craft, the old craft, something like that. Reach out to me. You know how to reach me. So if anybody's interested, let me know.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Denise Jefferson. I am co-chair of membership and also volunteer coordinator. And I'm going to say again, like Delina said, we need volunteers. We need volunteers are needed for all special events like this because we want to celebrate everyone's culture during the year. So we need special event volunteers. So I have papers on your table and you can sign that with your name and email and phone number, and we'll be getting in touch with you. And also those of you online, you can put your name in the chat and we'll get in touch with you who wants to be volunteers. Also memberships. We're coming to, up on our end of our year for June, and we need about 10 more members. So we want you to talk to your friends, get them to join in. We have a special membership for $45 that will cover summer and get you in for next year. And if you haven't renewed your membership, it's time to do that also. The applications are in the back if you want to grab one for your friends, and also if you need to renew your application. So again, we need volunteers, we need members. So I appreciate it, and we would appreciate it at this membership led organization that if you would join us and help us to move along. Thank you.
Are you coming, Godfrey? Here comes the man, let me tell you. He's a mover and a shaker, but he's got a little woman underneath his wings that makes him fly. Yeah, so come on, Godfrey.
Hello, everybody. I've been retired now for 18 years. And you know, that's pretty good for being only 60 years old. But fortunately, after my retirement, I was trying to find out things to do. And my wife, she was still working. I put a damper on things. So to get her finished earlier and help her get through her last years of being a teacher, I decided to be a volunteer. I volunteered at her school. I helped her in her class. We did that for another, how many years, Elaine? 8 years before she was able to retire. And after that, we were able to do our morning walks and do our vacations and everything else a lot easier. While doing a morning walk, we walked around Dominguez Hills because we live right here in Carson. And we came upon the tennis courts in Dominguez Hills. And who did we see? We saw a bunch of old people playing tennis. And we said, wow, we should do that, you know? So we met Donald Means, who's the coach there, and his class. And he told us about OLLI, and he got us interested in it. And we joined the tennis class, and we just grew from there. OLLI is a wonderful thing. We've been doing the Juneteenth thing, at least the last 5 years or more, heading it up. This year, Laverne is heading it up. But in all those cases, we went through a lot of tribulations. We went through this whole thing with COVID. That was the worst thing because we had to more or less cancel our OLLI except for video. And this is the first year we're doing a hybrid, and it's coming back. We've gotten a lot of volunteers to help us. A lot of them are from the tennis group, believe it or not, and they've helped us a lot. Not only that, not only with helping us put things together, but they knew where to get things. In the past, we had always had to buy tablecloths. We remember now our tennis class, they had a source of getting the tablecloths. So these look a lot better than plastic tablecloths, I tell you. Yeah. And then we got the other ornaments and stuff from all over the different places that we heard from OLLI members. We also got other contributions from OLLI members. They helped put this whole thing together, and we're able to go back to the same place we went before we went on the COVID break, R's Kitchen, to get our food that's coming in today, and also from Campus Catering. We got some of the food. We will have a lot of food I hope you enjoy. And I will be telling you about that later on when we get ready for lunch. But the main thing here is that try to invite your friends. We need people for this next OLLI year. We need people to finish up this OLLI year. It's only about 2 weeks left in the OLLI year. But if we can get a few more people, there's a special program, like was mentioned, $45 you get both next year and the remaining this year. Just to keep our numbers up. The more we have for our numbers, the better support we get from the OLLI Foundation group, right? And they're the ones that keep us going. And so next year, we're gonna need as many people as we can to keep this up. So get your friends and tell them to come join OLLI, especially the ones who are just retired. We just went to a couple of retirements this week. We're gonna try to pull some more people in. Yeah, so just do that. Just to mention more about the tennis group. The tennis group is the greatest group at OLLI, okay? yeah. Our tennis group has gotten so close. Not only do we play tennis, and Don comes in and he gets anybody just starting tennis or not. We separate people out. We teach them how to do the strokes and how to all the rules of tennis. The other people are playing against people of their own levels. So we all get our exercise in. We socialize like crazy, okay? Yeah, we always talk with each other. Not only socialize, we travel. This group has traveled to, the last big place we went to, I think was France. If it wasn't France, it was New York, one of the two, for the opens in those areas, the Paris Open, French Open, and the US Open. There's also been times when Don and his friends has gone to the Australian Open. We were gonna do that until the pandemic hit, right? But there's other places that we go locally, the Indian Wells to see the tournament there. Or we might just decide to go down to Santa Barbara for a weekend or for a day trip. So we're doing other things as group, and socialization for us is very great. And by having a coach like Don, he sets us straight on what to eat, how to exercise, and everything else. So we all try to do that once in a while. But when we get some more people, I'm up to your time.
Good afternoon to my OLLI colleagues. I just wanted to rise and say, well, I've been an OLLI member, I think 5 or 6 years. My husband was a quiet poet. He just wrote it, never talked about it. And OLLI gave him his first opportunity to openly share. And I can't make him shut up. And the books that we published last year, it was a culmination of poems over the years that he only wrote and shared with himself. So having the experience of being able to share with the OLLI audience gave him a certain level of comfort and excitement. And that's where the 2 books came from. But I just want to say thank you to OLLI for giving him an opportunity to share. And now he's on the map. Thank you.
Well, thank all of you for your comments. And I just happened to think of something. OLLI. What does OLLI mean? And for those of you that are not members of OLLI, maybe you might not know, but OLLI is an acronym for Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. And the Osher family, apparently they have, a few bucks to fling around, and there are OLLI organizations all over the United States. So they support universities and colleges to have senior programs that people 50 and up can be involved in. And they do all kinds of things. I remember they were having a class at Cordon Bleu in Pasadena. And I learned what Facebook is all about, much to my chagrin. But I learned that here at Cal State Dominguez Hills. So I just kind of put it together to say, if indeed you have some time on your hands, please consider joining this wonderful, wonderful organization, because you'll make friends. I read it. You'll make friends that, yes, Miss Euler. It is. It really is. And since Eula spoke out, I'm gonna point her out. I became a member of OLLI so many years ago, I can't remember. And she said, Frankie, why don't you do a class on aging? Well, you know, she could see that I was an old woman. And so I said, why not? Well, with her support and with her, how shall I say, well, she can be a wee bit aggressive when she chooses to be. So I do a class on aging gracefully and gratefully. And it's not my standing and saying you do this, you do that to age gracefully and gratefully, but we come together as a group and we all give our examples of what certain things in our lives have meant to us, you know, and now that we are what we are, because we ain't what we used to be, but how do we deal with that? Cup half empty, cup half full. And so I encourage any of you that would be interested in doing so to join this August body, if you will. So Ms. Laverne, am I now to kind of move to the thanks and the acknowledgements and blah, blah, blah? Okie dokie. It is a joy to have all of you here today, but I also want to acknowledge and thank those people that made this event happen. It was just not with the snap of the finger. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of joy in being able to bring something of this magnitude to fruition. So first, I'm going to recognize the people that are on the Cal State University Dominguez Hills staff. And we have a couple of this, of course, Fawn is one of those people, Fawn Supernaw. She's the OLLI director. Kathleen Solano. Kathleen and Nancy are students, and as a matter of fact, they both graduated this year. So is Nancy back there? No, they're not. Kathleen. Kathleen. Let them see you, girl. Because what these young ladies do, they answer phones, they put together programs. I mean, they just do all sorts of things. They help to register people. And would you like to just say a couple of words?
Well, this is my first time speaking. I'm usually behind a screen, or if you've seen me, just behind a desk. I really like working at OLLI. I've been here since last fall. I like the people here. It just feels like a community, and I just like working for everyone here. The staff is amazing. Just everyone here is really beautiful, and I am more than happy to work with all of you. So that's what I have to say. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for your hard work. Now we have a technical support staff. We have Miss Anissa Barton Thompson over there. And is Arvin here? Well, I'll call his name, Arvin Lambanicio. Did I say that right? Oh, I'm so impressed with myself. And of course, I'd like to introduce the Juneteenth Committee, because the committee members really worked hard. And I mean, they have had meetings, and, you know, when they called and asked me, you know, to be a part of this, because I'm working, now I'm an old woman, but I have a job with the city of Carson. And so most of the times I had to take off from work today, y'all, just to be here. But it's something that I would not have missed. So let me introduce to you. Well, I think I just want to acknowledge those people that contributed to today's event, and not necessarily with time, but maybe with skills, with different ways of contributing. So we want to thank those people and acknowledge them. And we just want to know that we feel grateful for all that they have done. Now, here comes the Juneteenth Committee. Get ready. Now, there you are. You come on up here. Miss Laverne Brunt. She is the chair. So let's give the chair a round of applause. And next, Miss Delina. Now, I don't know whether anybody thought to mention that Delina happens to be married to the Donald Means back there. So Delina, would you come forward? Miss Judy Francis. Judy, come on up here. The one and only Jeffrey Jones. Let me tell you, this man is a wealth of knowledge. If you want to know anything, if you want to ask any question about anything, he's got the answer. So now when this is over, why don't you pull him to the side and say, well, Jeffrey, what about, and see just how good he is. And then, of course, Godfrey Schneider. And the wind beneath his wing, Miss Elaine Schneider. And Jimmy Laverne Thompson. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Come on. Eula Slater. You little rascal, you come on up here. Joyce Wynn. There she is. And let's see, I've got Miss Peggy Barton. Here you are. Now, Peggy, I think I might have mentioned, is responsible for the centerpieces. And I'm told that they will be a part of the whatevers. You can't keep a secret from these people. Look at this group. These people know what's going on. And then, of course, Miss Norma Bates. Norma. That's right. And if you want a quilt or you want anything, I'm sorry. Oh, well, I'm told that Godfrey and Elaine did the decorations, all of these beautiful things. Hey, mostly Elaine. Come in. Jada.
We'll be signing autographs.
Thank you so much.
And we really want to say hello to all of our virtual participants. And you know, I feel a wee bit sorry for them because we will be partaking of a few goodies. And well, just imagine all the good stuff that we are going to have. Let your mouths water. But thank you for being here, and it's really been a pleasure. So I believe, I'm told to at this point, and I will at this point. Now, bye, Zoomers. Bye, Zoomers. Oh, yes. Okay. Well, thank you all again, and I have been honored and delighted to serve as your MC. All right.